I'm Mrs. P. Vijayalakshmi, Assistant Professor of English, VV Vanya Perumal College for Women, Viruthunaggar. Today, in this session, we are going to learn about the eminent writer of the 20th century, English poet, Hughes. So, before getting into the session, let me ask you some questions, students. How many of you are interested in gardening? Or how many of you like animals? Or how many of you like birds? You may have some doubt. Is there any connection between Hughes and this question? Yes, my dear. There is a connection between these questions. Yes, as I asked earlier, how many of you are interested in gardening? Okay, what is the specific reason behind it, my dear? Is there any specific reason? Okay, superb. Thank you so much. Some of the students use it. You are scared of seeing some animals. Maybe by looking at some animals, we feel happy by their cute expression and everything. But at times, we scared of some animals. Okay, so we will see it in detail one after another. So let us see who is Hughes. Hughes was born on 17th August 1930 in a small town in the West Riding district of Yorkshire. His father was a carpenter who had seen in the person the cruelty of war in World War I. Though not old enough to take part in the war itself, but greatly influenced by his father's experiences, Hughes, no doubt, came to equip his mind with complex feelings towards warfare, composing his poems. So, after graduation in 1954, he served the Royal Air Force for a short period. Later, he took up teaching. So, in the year 1956, Hughes married the famous poetess Sylvia Plath, and a year later, both of them left for America, where Hughes taught creative writing at the University of Massachusetts. So, during the 50s, Hughes was ranked as one of the representative poets of that period. His first books of poems, that is The Hawk in the Rain, was published in 1957. So he had been awarded a number of prizes and awards, of which New York Poetry Center First Publication Award in the year 1959, Queen's Gold Medal for Poetry in the year 1974 are considered to be the most prestigious award. So Hughes' first work itself attracted much attention from readers and critics. So most of the poems in his collection have an admirable violence about them, and the world presented by them is inhabited by wind, rain, sea, violent birds like hawk, wild animals like wolves and jaguars. Even the men are at war with one another. So Hughes is often referred to as an animal poet. So in the beginning of the session, I have asked you a question. How many of you like pet animals? Why do you like pet animals? Okay. So here there is a connection. So Hughes, he is referred to as an animal poet, and the reason is entirely a different scenario. Okay. So here there are certainly enough creatures in his poems that could fill a mini museum, like hawks, crows, jaguars, crabs, apes and fox. He uses animals as scales by which to measure power, action and energy, which are part of the nature of things. So, in the poem titled Hawk, hawk appears to be a recurring metaphor in his poems, as in poems like The Hawk in the Rain, and Hawk Roasting. So whenever you look at the bird, how do you feel? What comes to your mind first? Okay, when you read a poem, you can experience all those things through his poem. So the poem Jaguar is a fine study of the beauty and ferocity of animal life. So yet another poem called Crow. Crow is another symbol used by the poet in several poems. The sequence of works in which crow is a central metaphor, or a crow hymn. In the year 1970, a few crows in the year 1970, and crow wigs in the year 1971. Crow is considered to be a god's adversary in all the poems of the crow sequence. As I said earlier, it is considered to be, that is crow, it is a cruel, ridiculous devil who frustrates God's designs. So some of the other theme introduced poetry is death. The poet conceives death as connecting link between man and the rest of the creation, as in the poem A Woman Unconscious. So there is a touch of black humor when Thaddeus is preoccupied with death. The condition of all animate and inanimate things is survival or freedom from death. The poet sees survival as cruel and meaningless. I repeat, the poet sees survival as cruel and meaningless because the world is cruel and meaningless. Just think of these lines. When you read the lines, you can imagine how the poet was affected by that. Okay, we can sense it in these lines. The law of this world is nothing but bounce and stab. I repeat, the law of this world is nothing but bounce and stab. Hughes has been regarded as a poet who writes about the natural world rather than the society. But his animal poems are not only about the natural world, they also reflect human life. So the animal, the creature represented in his poems are not only the animals, but also in somehow or other he just related to the human life. He just reflect human life too in his poems. So Hughes wrote violence in his poems with the aim of waking up and warning the people, that is warning the public, warning the society, so that they could keep their eyes on the ecological issues. We must improve the ecological environment. We should love and protect our nature. So through all his poems, somehow he is telling how to protect nature, how to protect our environment. So from the beginning, Thaddeus, as I said earlier, we have seen his biography, where did he born, and what are the important themes in his poems, and what are the collections of poems. And towards the end, he concluded that as a people, we should have some responsibility towards the society, how we have to protect our nature, how we have to protect our environment, animals and everything. So through this, we can learn so much of authors and their works and their themes and so on. Thank you. Have a great day.